And it's time now for our business update with Catherine Bennett. Hi, Catherine. Now, you are looking at Uber, which they have lost a big landmark legal case in the UK, and it's a big deal, isn't it?
It absolutely is. So this whole legal battle is about how to classify Uber drivers, whether they're workers for Uber or whether they count as being self-employed. As the UK Supreme Court has ruled that they are workers for Uber. And this is a hugely symbolic court case because of the knock-on effect that could have on the rest of the gig economy. Precisely because it may inspire similar challenges in other companies and in other sectors that rely on gig workers. Now, for Uber itself, the UK is one of its largest markets, and these new regulations alter its business model considerably. Yinka Oyatade has the details.
Joy and jubilation from these Uber drivers as they celebrate a massive shift in their job status. This after the UK Supreme Court ruled that the company's drivers must be classed as workers and not self-employed, meaning they are entitled to a minimum wage and paid holiday. The ruling upholds a 2016 decision by the British Employment Tribunal.
The Employment Tribunal was right to find that Uber drivers are workers, who therefore qualify for the rights conferred on workers by employment legislation.
Uber had tried to fight the judgment by arguing that the company was simply a platform that connected drivers with potential passengers, but the Supreme Court ruled that the ride-hailing giant operates like an employer, as it does things like setting fares, which affects how much a driver earns, and uses a star rating system to discipline drivers. The Employment Tribunal will now decide on how much to compensate drivers over lost pay. Lawyers say some could be entitled to €13,000. Welcome news for those struggling financially. The ride-hailing app's fares have dropped by 80% as a result of the pandemic.
We have drivers working very long hours, taking home gross about £30 to £50, yeah? And that can't be right, especially for a company making a lot of money on the back of these workers with absolutely no liability.
While Friday's ruling will only initially affect 25 out of the company's 65,000 British drivers, it could shake the gig economy globally. While companies argue the sector gives people flexibility, critics say it leaves workers unprotected.
Back in January, US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen urged governments to act big to spend their way out of the COVID-19 crisis. Yellen has been pushing for a large stimulus package in order to get the US economy back on track. She said in an interview with CNBC yesterday that the $1.9 trillion deal could get the US back to full employment in a year. After her comments, stocks rose on Friday, rebounding after 3 straight days of losses. Now, they've since pared back, but the Dow Jones and Nasdaq are still gaining around 0.1%, and the S&P 500 is just under the flat line. Markets in Europe advanced at the end of the week. London's FTSE was up 0.1%, far behind Paris and Frankfurt, both indices up 0.75%. And a quick note on Bitcoin, which has hit a new record high. The total value of all Bitcoin reached $1 trillion today, finishing off a record-breaking week for the cryptocurrency. It surged around 64% this month alone. Students in France have been hard hit by the pandemic, with many falling into financial difficulty as student job opportunities dry up. Food banks have seen a sharp spike in demand, as have hotlines offering psychological help to students dealing with depression. Jean-Emile Jamin has the story.
Leila Idedaim is on the hunt for a job. The hospitality major needs €800 per month for housing, transport and utility bills, but her current internship only brings in €300.
When you're an apprentice, you don't get student grants, so it's all about the salary. This internship is different, and it's not all the same kind of money.
Like many others in her position, job prospects are minimal, and paying for basic needs like food has become a struggle.
I try and find temporary work when I'm available, because there's no work in places like restaurants.
Up to 25% of young professionals in France are now unable to find work, 2.5 times the national unemployment rate. And the situation has only been made worse by the coronavirus pandemic. Paris-based Linky, which provides fresh food, hygiene products and masks to needy students, has seen growing demand in recent months, serving up to 500 at a time.
It means that tonight, more than 2.5 tons of food is being handed out in these bags. I don't know if you realise, but it's huge.
With 6 p.m. curfew still in place, France's government has sought to incentivize the job market, offering state bonuses of up to 8,000 euros to companies which employ young adults. Universities have also been authorized to open their doors, resuming classes 1 day per week, while several institutions have also stepped up, providing daily €1 meals.
The fast food chain McDonald's has set a goal of having an equal number of men and women in leadership roles by 2030. Company data from 2018 showed that women made up 32% of senior management roles. The food giant is also planning to increase minority representation in senior roles from 29 to 35% over the next 4 years. The firm announced these objectives after last year facing repeated accusations of racism and sexual harassment in the company's culture. Since being unveiled in 2016, Sophia, a humanoid robot, has gone viral. Now the company behind her has a new vision: to mass-produce robots by the end of the year. Hanson Robotics, based in Hong Kong, said 4 models, including Sophia, would start rolling out of factories in the first half of 2021, just as researchers predict the pandemic will open new opportunities for the robotics industry. Jean-Emile Jamin and France 2 bring us this story.
She could become the companion of the future.
My name is Sophia. I am an artificial intelligence.
Sophia, the 24th generation of humanoid robots, has been active since 2015.
Did you do your morning exercises?
She moves, talks, and expresses emotions, and for her creators, she could provide a comforting presence during lockdowns or in periods of solitude.
People need to be isolated from each other because to be around people is dangerous these days. But these robots can keep people safe from danger while still providing that kind of human warmth, that human connection.
Hong Kong-based Hanson Robotics plan to produce thousands of robots like Sophia by the end of the year, with hopes of supporting the sick or elderly while COVID remains a threat.
The pandemic will actually help us get robots earlier in the market because people start to realize that there is no other way, in a sense.
The global market for robots jumped 32% last year. Its estimated worth now €8 billion.
Well, there you have it. Those robots look pretty creepy to me, but perhaps we'll see them in the future.
New frontier. Thanks for that, Catherine. Quick break now for the weather and more news after that.